Mahoney with the University of Southern Indiana Romaine College of Business, and with me is Eric Deckers, our guest today, who just completed an outstanding presentation about social media to our audience of students. And we welcome you to the university.
Thank you. Glad to be here.
It was great. It was really great. We had a full house, to say the least. Did. So we welcome you and hope that you had a nice visit to our campus. And it was nice to see that you met some students, apparently from your fraternity.
Yeah, exactly.
It was
I
a nice.
belonged to a national fraternity, Sigma Tau Gamma, when I was. I belonged to Sigma Tau Gamma when I was in college.
Good.
And they saw that on my LinkedIn slide and said, "Oh, hey, that's our fraternity." And so they came up and talked, and we exchanged a few pleasantries about the fraternity and what it's doing.
That's one of the nice things about social media. People connect. The common groups. That's good. Again, that would have been an opportunity that people would have missed before. Okay, what I'd like to do is just pose a couple, 3 questions that we hope that we can use on our social media, just for those students that may not have been able to attend the session. So the question I have, which is really kind of a 2-part question, what's the biggest mistakes that you think that college students make with their social media? And also maybe the second part of this question, which is the biggest opportunities you see in social media.
Okay. I think the first big mistake is, I think new social media users do this, businesses do this, is they see social media as a free advertising channel.
Yes.
But if you think about our TV viewing habits, we avoid advertising as much as we can. Even marketers, which is surprising. That's like our bread and butter, but we're trying to get away from it as much as we can. And if people are trying to avoid advertising that much, think about what they're going to say about you if all you're doing is broadcasting messages that are saying, look at me, buy my stuff, whatever. It's when you start shouting at people on social media, they see it as an advertisement. If they won't watch it on TV, they're certainly not going to pay attention to you. So you should treat social media as a chance to have conversations with people. So that's one big mistake.
Okay.
The other big mistake is that they aren't using it, or they're not using it properly. So, somebody who's been using social media since they were in high school and they're coming to college and they've got all kinds of freedoms and they're doing all kinds of cool stuff and they're saying, hey, look at this cool stuff I'm doing, that might not be the thing that employers want to see. They want to see evidence of good decision making. And when you are showing photographic proof of all the cool stuff you did on spring break, that's not good decision making.
Right.
And I have known employers who have pulled job offers because of what they found on social media from their new candidates. And that's not illegal. Employers can and will check up on you on social media. They would almost not be doing their jobs if they did not. And so when you think about how you use social media and what are you putting on there, just remember, mistake number 2, employers check that.
Yes. So
don't make that mistake. Having said that, the opportunity is, this is your chance to showcase your talent, to showcase your knowledge, to showcase your abilities, because you can be writing great articles on your blog and share that on LinkedIn and Twitter. And you can connect with people in your industry, people who might want to hire you one day. You can connect with them and have conversations with them in a way that you can't if you called up their office and said, hey, can I come up and just meet with you and talk to you for a little while? That's not going to happen. They have gatekeepers. They have people who answer the phone and their sole job is to tell you no.
Yes.
And so they don't have gatekeepers on social media. If if the VP of marketing of this large company you want to work for is on Twitter, he or she is on Twitter, not their admin. So you can cut past the gatekeepers, you can cut past all those roadblocks and get right to that person on social media that you can't anywhere else. So that's the great opportunity of social media.
Okay. Well, one thing that you mentioned, and you asked the audience several good questions, made them think about things. You asked them how many are into blogging. And you've been into blogging since what, 1997?
97, before there was really blogging software to do it with.
You're a pioneer. And what advice would you give to students that are considering going into blogging?
Do it regularly, even once a week. Once every couple of weeks is fine. Once a week is better, but whatever frequency you choose, do it on a regular basis. So there's a schedule, give yourself a deadline so you're always writing to that. Even if you don't write well, or you think you don't write well, do it anyway. One piece of advice I always give to people is if you're not sure how to write something, write an email to your mom.
Oh.
And just say, "Dear Mom, let me tell you this thing I learned." And then explain the thing to your mom, but do it in a way that your mom understands. Because our moms love us, but they don't quite understand what it is that we do or what we want to do. And so you have to explain it in a way that mom understands. And you have to use language and avoid all the jargon and the buzzwords, and use language that mom gets, and do it in a tone, a conversational tone that you would write to your mother anyway. And don't dumb it down. We all learned what happened when we dumbed something down for mom and she didn't like it.
That's
so
right.
You can't do that, but just make it simple, make it easy to understand, make it conversational, and then go back and delete that first part, that "Dear Mom, let me tell you what I learned." And there you have a blog article that's easy to understand. It's light in tone, it's accessible, it's approachable, it's got a nice, pleasant voice to it, and that's your blog article. And if you pay close attention to the articles that you like, the blogs that you like, and the writers that you like, that's how they write. They write in that nice conversational tone. They don't sound like academics. I'm very sorry for saying this,
It's
but
okay.
my dad is a
Sure.
retired psychology professor for 45 years.
Yeah.
Academics tend to be a little stuffy in the way they write, and I always hassle him about that. Kind of eschew the academic voice and start writing like a real person, and that makes blogging so much easier if you can just write that email style tone of voice.
Yeah, you made a couple of suggestions in terms of topics that might be good for students to think about blogging. You want to mention what some of those are?
Sure. So when you think about what industry do you want to work in, let's say you want to be in marketing,
Okay.
and you especially want to focus on nonprofits, or you want to focus on international corporate marketing, start reading some of the trade journals and the blogs written by people who are leaders in that field, and write about that.
Sure.
Is there something going on in a particular country where maybe some advertising agency has just expanded into Germany, and what kinds of things are they going to have to deal with in Germany? Or are there new regulations that are going to affect how we sell things into another country? How do you market around that? So write about those things, things that you're learning in classes, projects that you've been working on, responses to those industry thought leaders, anything that you can demonstrate that you know what you're talking about.
Sure.
And that helps you to become a resource to the people in those fields. And it's what we call social proof. It's the proof that you know what you're doing, and it's social proof because it's on social media. So it's really just a fancy jargon word that somebody came up with for evidence. But it's evidence that you know what you're talking about, and the blog is the best way to do that.
To do that. Credibility.
Mhm.
Credibility, that's it, yeah. Well, as you wrap up your stay here at the University of Southern Indiana, what message do you want to leave for students when it comes to social media?
Less about social media and just about work in general. Being a writer, I'm always a fan of writing well, and
Yes.
people who write well. And there's no job that you can get that does not require you to have clear communication.
Yes.
You need to learn to write well and to speak well, speak in public and to do things like that, but really focus on the quality of your writing. Because even if you think, well, I'm not a writer and I'm not going to need it, you're going to send emails to your
Oh, yeah.
colleagues,
Yeah.
and you're going to write reports, and you're going to, maybe you do get stuck writing the blog articles for the company. And so you need to know how to just communicate effectively and clearly, and I think you should focus a lot of time on doing that. And to be honest, social media is a great way to practice that.
Yes, it would.
Back when Twitter was 140 characters, and that was the maximum your message could be, I, as a humor writer, would have to write a setup and a punchline to a joke in 140 characters. And my extra challenge was to do that without any abbreviations.
Wow.
So I learned how to write as concisely as possible. And when they relaxed the standards, I changed it to 280 characters. I didn't change my style. I still try to keep it under 140, but that made me a better writer. And so social media is a great chance to practice honing your message until it's sharp and clear and concise, and then sharing it that way.
Good. Well, we thank you very much for your time that you spent with us. This was very, very, very good experience for our students.
Good, thank you. I enjoyed it.
And we'll have to keep track of you and keep in touch.
Please do.
Thank you very much, Eric.
Thank you.